Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, welcome. So today, this video, we're going to be making a recipe that I've made probably 300 times. Every couple of weeks I make this, and since buying the Foodi, I've changed the recipe to make it in my Ninja Foodi. So you know what I'm talking about. I'm making Dave's Fandabby Dozy Chili. So I've done a little bit of prep so far, because I'm sure you don't want to watch me chopping bacon or onions. So I'll show you what we've got, and I'll spin round. So I had quite a few onions left over that I needed to use up. I don't normally use this many onions, but I've got there's about 580 grams of onions in there. You'd normally use, say, one large onion, maybe two, depends on how much you like your onions. But I've also taken a 400 gram pack of mushrooms, chopped them up as well. They're ready to go. Then we've got our beef. So we've got, this is all from Aldi's. So we've got the beef mince here, 5% fat, and that is I think it's a 700 gram pack. Let me check. It is a 700 gram. No, it's not. It's a kilo. Sorry, my mistake. So there's a kilo of beef mince. 700 grams of chopped beef. I've also just chopped up a packet of bacon, so a packet of smoked bacon, 250 grams from Aldi's. I've chopped that up. I've opened 2 cans of peeled plum tomatoes, kidney beans. I've got this, which is fantastic, it's a little bit mucky, but is Reaper habanero chili sauce from Wiltshire Chili Farm, Worcestershire sauce, 2 oxo cubes, and then for the actual the chili flavour, I've got chili flakes, ground cumin, ground coriander, smoked paprika, which is a must, garlic, that says garlic granules, but it's garlic powder, sea salt, black pepper, and hot chili powder. And I can give you the where you can buy all this stuff from, because I buy it online. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do, I'll pop you up on there. First thing we need to do is we need to get the bacon in the Foodi. So you'll recognise this noise. Okay. And most of this is going to be done using the sear saute mode. But then what I tend to do is I get it all cooked. So I cook all the meat through. I add the spices. So I cook the spices. Get it absolutely perfect, get everything in there, and then I slow cook it for about 4 hours. So here we go, here's the Foodi. You definitely want to have your Foodi underneath your extraction hood when you're doing this, because what you'll find is you want to really get a good smoky kind of taste from, especially from your bacon. And what I've found in the past is if you try doing that, you can't set off the smoke alarm. So here we go. Where shall I pop you? I'll pop you over here, and we'll put on the. Sorry, bring you back again. What we're going to do is we're going to change the setting to sear saute on high. Turn it on. So then we want to get our bacon in. So we'll grab our bacon. Spatula, and we'll pop our bacon into the Foodi. What we need to do is cook this bacon until it's nicely crispy. Put a little bit of oil in there. So put some olive oil, pop a dash of olive oil in there just to get it going. And what you want to do is you want to cook the bacon until it's crispy, got a bit of a smoky taste to it. Then you add your onions. So the onions will go in next, and cook the onions until they're clear and translucent, which generally is about 5 minutes. We'll then add in our beef chunks, brown that off. We'll then add in our beef mince. We'll cook that off, and then we'll add the all the spices, once all the spices have cooked, we can then put in, also we've got the OXO cubes here. I tend to put in half a litre of boiling water with the OXO cubes, put that in as well, and away we go. So what I might do now is I'm just going to show you the quantities for the spice. And it is really simple. This, you can adjust this based on your own personal taste, but I tend to keep it nice and simple and pretty much stick to a tablespoon of everything. So there's a tablespoon of chili flakes, and also I find once you've actually used the spices, move the container over somewhere else just in case you forget what you've added. So here's the ground cumin, which I need to get some more of. And please comment if I'm missing something on this recipe. I've tried using cocoa powder before. I don't know. Here we go, let's add the ground coriander. I'm definitely getting low on the old smoked paprika. Look at that, hardly got any left. Need to place an order for that pretty quickly. And I'll be honest, smoked paprika, put in 2, it really does make a difference. And I've only got a little bit left. I'm thinking, shall I just put the rest of that in? What do you think? No, I won't. Stick to the recipe. Well then, our garlic granules, and I'm deviating from 1 tablespoon of each. The garlic granules, I used to put in a tablespoon, with the powder, only half, because otherwise you'll lose all your friends if you put in a whole tablespoon. The sea salt, again, sorry, put in half, and the black pepper, I think also a half. And you should be able to hear the bacon nicely cooking behind me, which I'm going to have to go and put the extractor fan on. We're going half of that. And I can put this recipe down in the comments or just ping me a message. There you go, I've just given the bacon a stir. I do like my chilli quite hot. The last one I made was just right, and this is what I'm making. This is super hot chili powder. We'll put 2 in. We're going to be very brave. So that's all the spices mixed up. The other things we got is the Royal Chili Farms Reaper Habanero chili sauce, which we'll put that in once the spices are cooked. And we got Worcestershire sauce as well, and tomato puree. So let's see what's happening in the pot. Okay, you can see there's loads of water coming out of the bacon. So I will leave that cooking, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes when that's done. Take care. Bye. Right, so the bacon's at about, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. The bottom of the pan's looking like it's burning, but don't worry about that. That should add to the flavour, I'm sure. So if I show you in the pan, you might hear the sound of the fan quite loud because I've had to turn that on, but I'll show you now. There we go. It is looking like the bacon is very ready, and we're ready now for the onions to go in. So here we go. There's our onions all nicely chopped. And we'll give the onions a bit of stir around. Again, I'll grab you. There we go. Give the onions a good stir in, and these are only going to need a few minutes, I think. Just to soften up really. If we look, I think does seem like there's the pan is it's a little bit burnt at the bottom, but I think that is because this is the first time I've used back bacon. Normally I use lardons. The streaky bacon has got high fat content, so you might want to use that instead. Well, I'm going to give those a few minutes, the onions that is. Then next to go in will be the diced meat, then the beef mince, and then once that's all cooked down, I've mixed the spices that we put together. So I've mixed that all together. That will go in next, followed by the Worcestershire sauce, chilli sauce, and then we'll put in the tomatoes, the kidney beans, and I've also just put the kettle on. So I'll put the kettle on here. Then we'll put 500 ml of boiling water and 2 OXO cubes. There we go. See you in a second. Cheers. Right, so the onions, they've only had about 3 minutes, and they're already looking like they're nicely translucent, so it's ready to put the meat in. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. A hell of a lot of onions, but it's all good. So right, so here's our meat that's going to go in. There you go, that's the chunked meat. Spin it around. And what we find is we get a lot of liquid juices coming out of this meat. So it's heating it down a little bit. We've just got the onions cooking as vigorously. So we just brown this up. To be honest, we'll probably meats being done at the same time. Only important part. So I'll actually do that now. Pop it on the side. There we go, here's our lean beef mince. Let me confirm how much, what this is in weight. Yeah, 1 kilo. 1 kilo of beef mince. So we'll pop this in as well. We'll make sure we take off the. There we go. So that's the beef mince in. That's the beef chunks in. There we go. You see, and then just break this up into smaller. So it looks a bit nicer. Give it a good old mix in. You just want to break up any, when it starts cooking, you just want to break up any of the bigger lumps. Sorry, my camera work is a bit dodgy at the same time as stirring, so I have to get some accessories for my camera and strap it to the head or something. But I'll leave that to cook and I'll come back in a few minutes when it's nicely browned. This is fun. Make it chilli. Right, so the beef mince has had about 5 minutes. I've cooked it until it's gone it's brown. There's lots of juices still coming out of it. If I show you in the pan, you see there's lots of liquid coming out of the meat. So what I tend to do is rather than cook that until all the juices or the liquids disappeared, what I tend to do is I'll put in the spice mix that we've got. That'll absorb all the liquid. We'll cook that. We'll cook the spices, but you only need probably 30 seconds, a minute of cooking, because you don't want to burn the spices. What I do at the same time is then I'll put the OXO cubes in the jug, put the liquid in before it starts to burn. So where shall I pop you to show you this? So what we'll do is we'll give it another stir. So you can see there's loads and loads and loads and loads of liquid in there. So we'll give that a quick stir around. What I tend to do is, if you see any larger chunks of the mince, just give them a bit of a stab. Break apart the larger pieces of mince. There we go. Give another stir. There's a few bits there. Right. So what we'll do, I'll pop you here. I will grab our oxo cubes. And I'll pop the oxo cubes in the jug. And actually put the jug on the side. There's one or two. There's 2 oxo cubes in here. Just boil in the kettle a second whilst I get rid of the wrapping, so otherwise Mrs. B will. So here we go. Here's our delicious spicy mix. You can actually come with me to the kettle. So what I do is we're going to boil the kettle and make the beef stock. So you want about 500 mils. I've sometimes put a litre in, but if you put a litre in, it takes an age to actually reduce down to the right consistency. There we go, so that's half a litre of stock. Give it a bit of a stir. You can use, in the past, in this instance I'm using oxo cubes. Previously I've used the Aldi's or Lidl's own brand. They seem to be equally as delicious and tasty. So we've got our stock ready. We've got our spices good to go. We'll do one more quick stir. Looking good, looking good. And this bit I need really both hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop you on the side. There we go. And I'm going to put this in. I'll stir it around and then I'll show you. There we go. The whole lot's gone in. You might want to hold on to the foodie, the lid of the foodie, when you're doing this, because I'm stirring it quite vigorously. There we go, so that's nicely stirred. Yeah, that's what it looks like now. What you could do at this point is we will add our Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons. There's 1. There's 2. There's 2 tablespoons of our delicious Worcestershire sauce. And what we'll do now is we'll put in some of this, give it a bit of a shake, and really you probably need a teaspoon of this because it is quite potent, but I'm just going to do it by eye. I put in, there we go, I put in about half a teaspoon of the Reaper habanero sauce, so we'll give it another quick stir. And and I'll be honest, the smell is absolutely fantastic. If you look in there, hope you can see it. Looking more like a chili now. It's taken all the juices from the meat, all the spices. Give it a stir around. Yeah, and I hope the fan isn't too loud. It is quite a noisy fan that we've got. It's Howden's special, courtesy of our builder. Right, so that's all the spices in there. Now we're at the point where we can add the beef stock and we can add our tinned tomatoes. So I give it one more quick stir. The main thing at this point is you just don't want it to stick and burn, because you'll get a nasty burnt taste to your chili, not a nice one. So it won't be smoky, it will be burnt. So right, in we go with the beef stock. What I'm going to do is, there's still a bit of the stock that hasn't mixed, so I'm just going to put a little bit of water in from the kettle. Just to get the most out of our stock cube, you see. There we go. Stock cubes in. 2 tins of tomatoes. These are peeled plum tomatoes. I prefer these to chopped. I think you get better quality, even though they're the cheapest of the cheap Aldi ones. I prefer them to the just the chopped tomatoes. Then we'll go in with our 2 tins of kidney beans. These can go in. There's one. Fork. Yeah, please be easy on me with the quality of the video and cameraman shit on this. This is my first attempt at a real proper recipe. But I will show you what we got now. Looking delicious. There we are. So everything's in there. You want to chop. You kind of want to just break up the tomatoes a bit. And what we're going to do now is give this a mix round. You've still got the mushrooms to go in. I just want to chop up the tomatoes a bit before the mushrooms go in, because we're not going to have a huge amount of space. If you're wondering, this is a lot of food for just me or a family. What I tend to do is, once this is cooked and it's done, I will freeze this and in 300 gram portions, and this will last me. Normally this will make about maybe 10, 15 at a push portions. So I freeze it and then I take that to work when I was working away from home or out of home. So put the mushrooms in. There we go, so the mushrooms are in the pot now. And what you want to do is kind of cook this, so bring it up to a decent heat. So not that it's too hot, you just want to, let's say, leave it on the high sear saute until the mushrooms have started reducing in size and it's kind of getting there. But then what you do is you'll then stick it on slow cook, and we'll leave it on slow cook for about 4 hours. So I'm going to have a bit of a clear down. You're probably wondering the tomato puree. I tend to put the tomato puree in once I've cooked it down. So before I slow cook it, I'll put the tomato puree in. I'm going to have a clear down. I'll see you in a second. Cheers. Bye. Right, there we go. In the time it's taken me to to have a clear down, 5 minutes maybe. Magic things are starting to happen in the pan. Look in here, it's now starting to just blip away. So I'll leave that for maybe 10 minutes. Just so it starts to cook a little bit before we slow cook it. We kind of want to cook it. So when that's kind of ready to go on to slow cook, I'll let you know. And I reckon probably things, because all of this I've just done it for years just without really thinking about it. So I think normally 10 minutes, but I'll time it and I'll let you know. See you in a few minutes. Bye. Right, there we go. So that's had 10 minutes. I've stirred it a couple of times in between. I'll show you that. Look at that. It looks completely different. The mushrooms have already kind of shrunk down in size a little bit. So what we do now is stop the sear saute, give it a good stir, and it's blipping quite a lot. You can see that this is where you can get into trouble with your other half for making a bit too much mess, you see. So I'll pop you on here a second, and we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. So I'll show you. Here's 1, and here's 2 spoons of tomato puree. There we go. I'm going to like that. So the tomato puree's in there. That can go back in the fridge. I'll give it one more stir round, just to stir in that tomato-y goodness. So here we are. Bit of stir, and you'll see where I've taken off the heat. It's not blipping as much now. Oh, sorry, I'm pointing you in the wrong direction. There we go. Not blipping as much. It's calming down a little bit. But what we'll do now is we need to get our other lid, which is in the cupboard. There we go. Here's our steamer lid. And I'll show you what we need to do. So we'll pop the lid on. We will seal it. You can actually turn, you can turn the fan off. It's loud. There we go. So the lid's on. I've sealed it, and then what we want to do is we want to change this to, when we do it on, we want to change that to, there we go, I was twisting it the wrong way. Slow cook, high, 4 hours. There we go. And we'll leave that deliciousness for the next 4 hours to just get more deliciouser and deliciouser. So I will see you in 4 hours time, which for you it will be like, and for me it will be like